Spock's father. Star Trek. The Next Generation appearance needed Captain Picard. When Star Trek The Next Generation brought back familiar faces from the original series, one of the most surprising crossovers was the reappearance of Sarek, the legendary Vulcan diplomat and Spock's father. His presence in the TNG episode, Sarek, was more than a simple callback. It was a deliberate narrative choice that required the calm authority of Captain Jean-Luc Picard. At first glance, it might seem that Sarek could have fit into any Star Trek series, but his TNG story only works because of who Picard is and what he represents. The Vulcan ambassador's struggles in the 24th century needed Picard's unique blend of empathy, intellect, and moral clarity. Without him, the episode would not carry the same weight. A meeting of icons. When Sarek first appeared on TNG, the Federation was already familiar with him as one of the most accomplished diplomats in history. He had negotiated peace treaties, fostered alliances, and symbolized the Vulcan dedication to logic and reason. Yet by the time of Sarek Season 3, Episode 23, his legendary career was nearing its end. He arrived on the Enterprise to oversee one last critical mission, but there was a secret he and his entourage were desperate to hide. Sarek was suffering from Bundy syndrome, a degenerative neurological illness that robbed him of his emotional control. This setup created a powerful conflict. A figure who had long embodied Vulcan perfection was suddenly vulnerable. But telling this story required more than showing Sarek unravel. It needed someone who could interact with him on equal terms, someone whose presence would not diminish Sarek's status but enhance it. That someone was Captain Picard. Why not Kirk? It's tempting to imagine this same story unfolding in the original series era, with Kirk standing by Sarek's side. After all, Kirk had a history with both Sarek and Spock, and his bold loyalty might have made him a fitting partner in Sarek's final struggle. But Kirk's relationship with Sarek was always filtered through Spock. He respected the elder Vulcan but never truly connected with him on a personal or intellectual level. Picard, by contrast, was the perfect foil for Sarek because he met him as an equal in stature. Both men carried the weight of leadership, responsibility, and sacrifice. Picard wasn't Spock's friend trying to help his father. He was a diplomat and philosopher in his own right, able to bridge the gap between Vulcan stoicism and human compassion. Where Kirk's fiery passion might have clashed with Sarek's unraveling mind, Picard's calm gravitas allowed for harmony. The mind meld that defined an episode. The most unforgettable moment in Sarek comes when Picard agrees to a Vulcan mind meld to help the ambassador complete his mission. With his control broken, Sarek channels decades of repressed emotion into Picard. Through Patrick Stewart's masterful performance, viewers see the torrent of grief, love, anger, and regret that Sarek had buried for centuries. This scene is devastating not only because it reveals the cracks in Sarek's legendary facade, but also because it demonstrates Picard's incredible strength. Few Starfleet captains could have endured the intensity of carrying another's unrestrained emotional storm, let alone dignify it by giving voice to feelings Sarek himself could not express. Picard didn't just save Sarek's final mission, he preserved his dignity. Here is where the brilliance of the episode shines. Spock is not present. Instead, Picard becomes the surrogate who shoulders what Spock himself could not. By the time Spock appears in TNG later, in Unification, the audience already knows the cost of his father's decline. That emotional groundwork was laid not by Kirk or Spock, but by Picard, who carried the burden on their behalf. Sarek needed Picard's kind of leadership. Thematically, Sarek's story in TNG is about legacy and vulnerability. How does a titan of history face decline? Who is strong enough to help him in that final chapter without overshadowing him? Picard was the perfect answer. His command style had always been one of listening and reflection, not domination. In contrast to Kirk's impulsive energy, Picard embodied patience and empathy, qualities vital to showing respect for a character like Sarek while still moving the story forward. Furthermore, the Enterprise D itself was the right stage. Unlike the rough and tumble missions of the TOS era, TNG's setting was steeped in diplomacy, exploration, and intellectual exchange. The show provided